Hello crafty friends, it's Donna here. I have a rainbow wreath card to share with you today, and a little bit of a funny story. I've started today's card with a rainbow of coloured papers. I've chosen them so that none of them is too much brighter or lighter or darker than any other. You can see on this black and white clip that only the yellow and lime green stand out at all. I'm going to start out with the Moira flower dies. I only want to use 2 of the flowers for this card, and so I'm going to cut them apart. And I thought I'd share with you something that I do when I cut off the little tabs that are left when you cut off the second half. And that is to wrap a piece of washi tape or other sticky tape around it so that when you snip it, you don't lose that little metal shard somewhere on your desk. Ask me how I know. I have 14 different colours, and I'm going to cut 2 flowers from each colour. And I found that the dies worked perfectly well layering 2 colours up at once, and so that's what I did. I'm using a little plate to draw a basic circle onto this square card base from Paper Rose Studios. It's not exactly the size that I need for the wreath, but it's close enough to give me a nice circle shape. At this stage I wasn't sure whether I had cut the right number of flowers or not, but it turned out I had cut exactly the right number. With the smaller flowers, I layered them up by offsetting them by 1 flower. I was a little bit challenged with doing this, but I got it eventually. The leaves for the card come from a die set called Spring Blooms Die, and I cut about 10 or 12 of these in white. Not every single flower has a leaf, but most of them do. Then it was simply a matter of layering things up with glue. And while I'm doing that, a little bit of story time for you. My husband and I live in Japan at the moment, you probably know, and we have had a long-awaited trip to Hokkaido, the northern island of Japan, planned. We were finally able, 2 weeks ago, to get to Hokkaido, but sadly, within 3 hours of arriving, we started to feel a little bit funny. And sure enough, we tested and we had COVID. And so we ended up spending all but 2 days of our time in Hokkaido in a quarantine hotel. Japan has a system where you can quarantine in a hotel if you can't get home or be at home to quarantine. And we found ourselves in that situation because we couldn't get back home without using public transport. And so we've had a very boring holiday. We're both absolutely fine, but what a boring holiday. We were put in 2 separate rooms, and I must say looked after very well. We had 3 meals a day and good medical care. It took my husband a little while to get used to rice and fish 3 times a day, especially since he's complained of every single thing he's tasted being a little bland. So although we never got the holiday of our dreams, we are very, very grateful for the good care that we received. Okay, all of the flowers have now been constructed. Let's get on with the card. I'm using sentiments from 2 different sets. One is called Rainbow Poppies, and the black sentiment comes from the All Occasions sentiment strips. I've cut a little angle on the right-hand side of these and tucked them into my wreath. All of those wreath flowers have been popped up with some foam tape, which allowed me enough height to maneuver the leaves in and around and under the other flowers. The sequins, by the way, are semi-transparent, and so I ended up only needing 3 different colours of sequins for all of the flowers. For those of you who've been following the saga of the T-square ruler, look at me using it like a professional. I'm not going to lie, this card took a while to make. But if you don't have the patience or the time for a full-on wreath, I've got a little bonus card for you today, which is quick and simple and uses the same flower construction. To begin with, I'm scoring a few horizontal lines onto a card front. I'm going to stamp Happy Birthday parallel with those lines. I'm using Versafine Onyx black ink because it's a really rich deep black. Next, I'm going to add some frames. I'm using some burgundy cardstock as well as some purple. The purple watercolory paper comes from a paper pack called Floral Bliss from Paper Rose Studio. My way of aligning this is to pull back the tape on the two opposite corners and then holding it by the other two corners to wiggle the paper around until I'm happy with where it is, and then I can just press down on the corners that have the tape exposed and peel back the tape from there. Once all the layers are down, it's simply a matter of adding the single flower as a focal point. This card was definitely a 5-minute wonder. I'll leave you with some close-ups of both cards. If you're chasing any supplies, you can find them linked in the box below the video. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.